Thanks for having me on ABQ Podcast.
Well, you're going to be on there permanently. One question that I want to have, though, for all those that are out there listening, we have a pretty big business following here in Albuquerque, is horses. You're wanting a horse.
I'm itching for a horse.
So I want to see the response to this.
If anyone out there wants to talk to me about horse ownership, I'm all ears.
Yeah, and so you could hop on abqpodcast.com. There's my email address there. Just email it me, and I will forward it to you.
And send a selfie of the horse.
Yes, a selfie of the horse. Yes, we want selfies of the horse. Yeah, don't have it where it's like ready for a dog food one.
Yeah, no,
where it's like 20 years old. And how long do horses live?
A long time.
Oh, really?
Do you know that cows, on average, live for 20 years?
No way.
A cow.
20? Well, not here in America.
We know they live for like 2 years in America.
Yeah, we cut that quick off. So I want to talk about Albuquerque being the greenest city in the United States.
Well, last spring it was pretty green, but it wasn't permanent.
Well, I also want to talk about this, and I want people to understand we're not left, right. This isn't a liberal thing, because a lot of people think green cities. You always see it like Portland or Seattle. No. That's like a big thing. There's a lot of commerce that comes with it. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of innovation that happens with the city that's green.
Grants.
So, grants. Yeah. So when you look at, it's not just, if you want to look at the Republican side with bringing money to the city, or you want to, or tax cutting or any of that stuff, that's Republican side. The liberal side is, we have to take care of the environment because we're environmentalists, we're hippies.
But you can speak to both sides.
Yes. That's what we
can align the city with how nature works.
Yes.
The way we engineer things, right? The way we recycle things around here, the way we farm around here, everything we do here, if we can align it with naturally what's going on with the environment, it's going to give us many notches above other people.
Well, a lot of people don't. Our biggest concern here in Albuquerque is that no one knows. Some people like this, but no one knows about the city.
No one knows anything about it.
You say top 50 cities in America.
Yeah.
Albuquerque's going to be low. People aren't going to.
Which is a shame, because people, when they come here, they're like, "Ooh, I want to go back."
It's
if you're not driving through,
yeah,
you want to come back.
Yes.
It's a gem.
Yeah. And everybody we've ever talked to that's been here, we talked to on the Tartle side of things, we talked to a lot of tech people. Everybody and they've been to Albuquerque, love it.
Yeah.
Like we interview people, they're like, we love the food. We love the weather.
They love the food, the weather, the people, the culture.
Yes.
Everything about the lifestyle here.
So I want to agree and disagree with this article.
Well, how do you define green?
10 things that make a great green city is this article. Number one, and they quote an architect, Frederick Law Olmsted, and he created New York Central Park.
Yeah.
And he was an architect for New York City, which is really cool. He talks about parks are the lungs of the city. This is an old statement, I think, from the early 1800s. Late 1800s.
In a metaphorical way and in an actual biochemical way, it's legit. So let's talk about the biochemical. The more green space we have, the more trees, they're scrubbing more oxygen. They essentially combat all the negative pollutants that happen in higher population density areas through transportation and other things, right? So if we're scrubbing the air, it's the natural lungs of the area, right? Lungs are life. They're the progenesis of many things. It's one of the first things we do.
We've noticed that with COVID.
You noticed that with COVID, right?
Yes, lungs, how important lungs
are. It's the very first thing we do, right? Now, in the metaphorical sense, having these green spaces, this is where people come together. It's where they breathe. It's where they open up. It's where they relax.
Right.
It's where people actually become one with the city. How many people are just so enthralled, have so much joy of walking through Central Park in New York City?
Yeah,
so
it's
many.
Kind of the thing.
It's the thing to do, and it takes up a massive amount of space, and they protect that. But the amount of joy and community that happens there, that is the lifeblood. That's where people breathe. That's where the city breathes. That's where it finds that life.
Well, I think also, it's literally where people breathe. When you find a really good park, we have one just right over here. Mm-hmm. We live on Alameda, and we have one, what is that, Louisiana, and I forgot the Baca Domingo Park.
Yeah, it's Baca Domingo Park.
Yeah, and it has 2 dog parks.
Right.
One for small dogs, one for large
big
dogs,
dogs.
which sometimes you'll see 50 dogs in there.
And then a dog park for kids.
A dog park for kids, yeah.
And then a skate park for
And then
dog
a skate
punks.
park.
Yeah.
It's got tennis. But I would say on a good day, there's at least 200 people there at that park.
Yeah.
Easily,
But think about the joy that green space brings, right? And if you consider it, there's so much industrial stuff occurring in cities
Right.
that when you get to break that up, it brings back a much more natural element that aligns with human beings that live in the city.
Well, I also think it breaks up. It's like doing those gardens on top of like concrete buildings and stuff like that. You know how they have that. It breaks up those because that concrete's absorbing. You have heat with asphalt.
Yep.
So when you have trees, it's cleaning the air. I mean, it's
also cooling.
Yes.
You know, creates a natural balance. It gives, proper humidity and a little microclimate and stuff like that.
Yeah. Here's another one. Europe kind of has this down because
is it?
I've gone to like night trains and different trains in Europe, but public transportation is always something that people get very pissed off about. You know, like here in Albuquerque, we have art.
Yep.
And that's in Nob Hill there, and I've experienced that, and that turned into whether you're political left or right. I've talked to both people. I was talking to somebody super liberal the other day, and they were like, "I hate that thing. It's just, it's all homeless people. They took up one whole line of the road down through Nob Hill, so you only have one road now that you can do, and the buses are on
one." Can we think
one."
about it logically? Where are homeless people going to go? Where there's more tourism,
Yes,
because they have a higher likelihood they're going to get something.
cash. Yeah,
Right?
From people. Yeah,
People that don't live here that are passing through. It's Route 66. It has a lot of foot traffic.
right.
Obviously, that's where
Panhandling. Yeah,
homelessness is going to go to. But if you think about the public transportation, a lot of people don't want to go on buses.
right.
They don't like the stigma of it. Some people are like, it doesn't feel clean. It doesn't feel safe. How is it that you elevate that sort of idea around public transportation? Everybody does it in Europe.
Yes.
Doesn't matter if you're poor or rich. Everybody's on public
Well, even when
transportation.
you're a tourist, like even an American, they will go over there and use the train system.
Oh, absolutely. I loved it.
Japan, yeah.
It's
same.
extremely efficient.
But you're not going to see, they have it down in the sense of you're not going to see homeless people. You may see them a few around the station or whatever, but it's usually like artists or musicians.
Well, I got to ask you, this is the West.
Yeah.
Why do we not have like at least a monorail system? Why is Disney doing it, but Albuquerque's not?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
A monorail system take us all to the major epicenters or points here.
Yes.
Even if you allow people to bring a bike on it,
Yes.
it has to be a dog friendly monorail system.
Yeah, and then you have security, monorail security.
Yeah.
And then if people feel safe, I think they would use it.
Yeah.
I think that's the problem here. Like the subways in New York, it's like literally like people are pissing, shitting in the corner, shitting in buckets.
No, they are. That's not.
I mean, there's tons of videos
That's not a
of
joke.
that. You will go into the subway,
Yep.
you're going to get harassed. Crazy people are going to yell
Monorail?
at you. You're going to get pissed on.
It's above ground.
Yeah.
It's clean.
Yes.
It runs automatically, and it's going to take you to all the main central points. You get on, get off for work, and there's zero traffic. Traffic's
yes.
becoming more and more of a thing around here,
Oh, yeah.
right? As
Oh.
the city becomes more concentrated, there's limited in the amount of space the city can develop because of the Pueblo lands around it. So it's essentially landlocked.
Yes.
So they try and pack all the homes in. Well, when you do that, you got to pack people in. Then those cars have to go somewhere. And then we have specific regulations on the size of your parking lots here in Albuquerque. So
Yes.
you're like, why do these lots feel so small? Well, it's just because of how the regulation works. We can alleviate that stuff by putting in these monorail systems. You can run them everywhere.
Yeah.
And they would
Balloon
look
Fiesta.
cool.
Could you imagine that at Balloon Fiesta? It'd be so great
Oh, it'd be
to
amazing.
be able to just have a monorail go right into the Balloon Fiesta.
And there's no reason we can't power this city with our consistent westerly wind that
Right.
we have here, right? That's a very green thing. And on top of that, we can throw some solar in. Or we can ask the labs to rent us one of their fusion reactors, and we can just power this thing for the next couple hundred years.
Well, and this is controversial, but you're starting to see there's a guy writing a book right now, and he's from San Francisco area, and he's liberal,
Yep.
and he's like, nuclear energy is the safest, and whether it's true or not, I haven't studied, so I don't know. I'm just saying. He said all the 60s and 70s stuff with Chernobyl and all that, and Japan.
That's just bad operating.
He's like, it is so safe, and he's like, I think it's Sweden.
Yeah.
Is it Sweden or Switzerland that has all nuclear power?
Yeah.
And they have a room, and there's pictures online. He was showing it. They have a room where they have their waste, and they're in like buckets and containers or whatever.
That's correct.
And it's like, how many years is this powered? And how much we have There's like it's less than the size of a football field.
Yeah.
And it's not even, it's a quarter full. And how many years have they had it? I'm like, well, the waste isn't that much.
You know,
I mean, the waste is forever.
Well, no, it's not forever. It has a half-life.
Right.
We just do a poor job of irradiating things because we haven't really focused on that technology. So in southeast New Mexico, there is a subterranean storage plant. One of the big things is
alien hybrids in it.
Yeah. Thank you, New Mexico.
Yes, thank you.
So the Sierra Club and stuff like that they're not very fond of, they're big for
environmentalists don't like.
They don't like nuclear power. They don't like it because of the waste that it's creating, because we do a poor job of the storage of it. Nuclear power inherently in and of itself is a very clean thing. You could stand next to the reactor itself, and it's going to be shielded, or it's going to be down in water, what have you. And I don't know if it's called Chenkov radiation or whatever. But
I mean, how many guys live on subs?
So many.
And how many do you hear from the Navy that have had issues?
None.
They're right next to the reactor.
I haven't heard of any.
Yeah.
Nuclear technology is really interesting, and people don't really understand how far, this ionizing radiation actually, how far it travels from the reactor itself. High energy means it travels a shorter distance. So our containment measures, the way we scrub these things, they're all great. Transportation, the energy output it does, fantastic. We just got to do a little bit better with the waste.
Yeah, and so the next one is to move along, quality public space. And we talked about this with parks are kind of like that. Yeah, it's just to a human scale, places where people can safely walk, happily gather. If they're working in like their downtown, you can have not just parks, but like little green spaces everywhere.
Or like little benches and stuff set up, where people can just kind of sit and do leisure.
Yes.
When I used to be in Boston, there are just, areas set up everywhere. There's tables or even like concrete spaces with some, planting boxes or what have you around there with the plants. But people are out there doing qigong, chilling, playing chess.
That's cool.
We need that.
Yeah. And next one is bike lanes. And I saw a picture. I think I don't know if it was in Europe or where it was. I'm not saying we need to be European cities. I'm not, because I know all this stuff is politically charged and we're not trying to do that. We're trying to unify and create unity into the city.
Yeah.
It needs that more
Albuquerque,
than
the city of unity.
Yeah, the city of unity. But these bike lanes, it was really interesting. So they had dark asphalt, and then they had the bike lanes like bright blue. So you could contrast. Really like the whole bike lane. Like let's say it's 3 feet or whatever it is.
Love that.
It was blue. So it was white lines with blue. So you could, and then it had pictures of bikes every once in a while. So that blue, it was not just like here. It's kind of like, is that a bike lane? It's the same color as asphalt.
And it ends with a sign somewhere blocked by a tree to say bike lane ends. I'm like, wait a minute.
I did 8 months of not having a car biking in Albuquerque.
Personal experience. Go.
I
tell
know
me.
this.
Yeah, tell me.
It is absolutely horrific. I felt like I was going to die almost every time I went out there. And it has nothing to do with the way people drive. No. One, they're not used to bikes. And two, there's no clear bike lanes. They're abrupt. You'll have a bike lane and then it's just gone.
We need continuous and contiguous
yes.
bike lanes across the entire city.
Yes. From the west side to here to
Albuquerque
the river.
Gets over 300 days of sunlight. Doesn't matter the temperature. People can be biking all day. That's zero pollutant. Mm-hmm. We need more bike stations for people to lock their bikes up. Mm-hmm. It has to be even more bike friendly than it currently is.
Yes.
People love biking.
Yes.
They love it. And if we can get them to go to work while biking,
yes,
and make them feel safe to do so, let's do it.
Oh, that just helps the traffic and everything else. It helps the
bikes
people.
And monorails. Bikes and monorails.
High profile green buildings.
Okay. What makes a building not green? The materials it's made out of, and the AC unit they put on top. Oh, and the materials it's made out of. Do you know, we have such phenomenal technology here.
Oh, yeah.
Seriously, the stuff that gets created in the labs, whatever we're engineering, phenomenal,
right?
Like physical technology. We should be using cutting edge materials and technology developed by these labs or the people that leave the labs to commercialize certain, products or services,
right,
to build our stuff so that it has absolutely zero impact. And we need to blend it in with the landscape of the land. I know we're building all these big square things, right? And Albuquerque does a good job not building skyscrapers. We shouldn't have them here, right? But the way these things are designed, we can do it much, much better. It'll cost a little bit more, but in the long run for us, I don't even care if the city subsidizes it.
Right.
But if we subsidize super high tech, that commercialization process for building new efficient structures that make sense, we need to do it. We can take a step beyond that. We can set the standard here in Albuquerque.
Well, in the 40s and 50s, we were for technology. We were setting the standard.
Well, let's think. Yeah,
New Mexico was setting the standard.
It was
for technology.
For the world.
The standard
for the world.
Yes.
Nobody else had nuclear technology like we
No.
did. Let's consider something simple here. Down in the older parts of the city, Nob Hill area, right? The homes, huge adobes, right? Thick walls, mud walls,
Right.
wooden structures on the inside. Stays cool during the summer. That technology makes sense. It works for the area. But then as we've grown so much here, the buildings have become taller, walls have become thinner. That means we need more AC units. That means we're pulling more electricity per population density in the area. The way we've started to build does not align with how nature operates in this certain climate. We need to realign ourselves. The earlier days, very aligned with what was going on here. It worked. But now we're totally out of cycle, out of sync with what is going on. And I think we can increase those efficiencies and bring that stuff back with the technology that we have.
Yeah, and then mixed use and infill development. And so this goes with good planning.
Yeah.
And this is a key to a green city in the sense of taking mixed use neighborhood with office, retail, entertainment, residential space. Mm-hmm. You can see this when you have like apartment complex, and then you'll have a restaurant inside the apartment complex, and maybe a little
with
small
the coffee shop and the
and
shopping,
a marketplace, and all that. You're seeing that a lot. That's that mixed use. And then have multi-purpose arenas and stadiums. You're seeing that when somebody builds a arena or stadium,
except for the one that got voted away.
Yeah, that got it away here, the soccer one. But you're seeing it where it's like restaurants all around it.
Correct.
And then those restaurants are open all the time.
Yep.
So it becomes like not just a place to go watch something, but a place to be.
Right.
Like a place to hang out. Like they have the farmers market here at the where they do the filming and stuff in those big old, they're like hangar buildings or something, old hangar buildings.
Quonset huts.
Yeah, those huge.
So you're talking about down in the train depot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like all that needs to be renovated.
It all needs to be renovated.
That could be full of restaurants and a park and all kinds of cool shit. The monorail could go there.
You will notice here in Albuquerque, how do people spend their free time? They buy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They literally
go eat.
They go eat and they buy stuff.
Yes.
Because we lack activity space for them here centrally in the city. You can leave Albuquerque, and New Mexico will give you all the land, all the space for activity you want.
Mm-hmm.
But mostly people don't do that live here.
No.
There's a good portion of people that go out and do that want to make that trouble. But most people are like, I'll spend 15 to 25 minutes driving here in the city, and I want to go find an activity within that radius.
Well, and I also think whenever you're looking at, and this is the side that I want people to understand, if we had monorails, we had bike systems,
Mm-hmm.
we were building buildings that were eco-friendly, in line with nature.
Yeah.
We were branding that and putting that out there. Who's going to want? Why are people flooding to Austin or Texas right now?
Because Austin's really a cut above.
Yeah,
it's advertising.
Yeah. It's advertising as tech.
Yeah.
We have fiber optic. We're 10 times faster than Xfinity. We have Google Fiber.
Yep.
We have all and that's just a small thing, but it plays. Austin's going to be the new tech hub if it's not already is.
Correct.
Silicon Valley is dying.
I want Austin to be the tech hub, and I want New Mexico to actually be the future. Does that make sense? They can be the tech hub of now.
Yes.
I want New Mexico to be like Epcot and Disney World.
Yes.
Experimental prototype community of tomorrow, right? But we can do it right.
Well, we have that ability with the culture here.
Yeah.
And this is the last one on this article. It's called Good Green Fun. Going green shouldn't be all about work and no play. The best green still celebrate their eco-friendly lifestyles. Farmers markets, local tasty treats, bars and restaurants.
Love it.
Ecologically minded artists, music festivals. We have all the ability to do that.
But honestly, though, we do. The awareness is not good. People are not aware of it.
No.